Everyone. Today we're going to talk about, can you be spiritual and political? But first, let me introduce myself. I'm Kelly Lee Sappenfield. I'm a fifth generation metaphysician, soul evolution coach, speaker, and author. And today I want to talk about being a spiritual person and politics. I know politics is like, oh my gosh, you're talking politics. Yes, I'm talking politics. You know how many people I have heard from? This is, oh, I'm just not paying attention. I'm not paying attention. I have my head in the sand and I don't want any of that negative energy and all the craziness that goes along with politics. Instead, I'm just meditating, I'm doing my spiritual work, and I'm ignoring it all. Well, you can meditate and do your spiritual work and still be involved in politics. And I'm not saying run for office, I'm saying vote. Today's National Voter Registration Day. And that's why I'm talking to you about this subject today, because you don't have to be in the thick of it and be running for a political office, but you do, as an American, need to be informed. You need to educate yourself and go vote. I really believe that when we came into this world, and if you, whatever country you came into, but let's use the United States as an example because we're coming up on a major election. When you came into this world, you came in agreeing to be a citizen of this country, right? And part of being a citizen of this country is being involved in citizenry, is being involved in your community. So whether it is voting for dog catcher, mayor, congressman, state or federal, or the president, being involved in citizenry is part of your work. And I've also heard, oh, but my vote won't count. Really? If that was the case, and we had people actually voting in this country that were eligible to vote, we would have had different outcomes for elections. I'll give you one example, Gore versus Bush. How many few votes actually determined who became president? So if everyone would have gone to vote that could have voted, we would have had a different outcome, quite possibly. Now, can you still be spiritual? Absolutely, absolutely. They do not exclude each other. And putting your head in the sand and just saying, I'm ignoring it, it's not for me, it's crazy, the negativity, just the constant bickering and all of that. I'm not saying you have to sit there and watch 24-hour news. Lord, please don't. But what I am saying is educate yourself and then be a part of your community. Be a part of your community by going out and voting. You know, if more of the spiritual community actually went out and voted, then we would have more of a say in who is elected. Instead of just saying, oh, it's the lesser of two evils, and I don't care for either candidate. And I understand that. We all feel that way a lot of the time, right? But you have to put your energy out there. Everyone wants a new age of awakening, but they don't want to actually do the work to make it so. And part of that work is also exercising your right to vote. So you can be spiritual. You can stand in that line to vote meditating. You can stand in that line to vote talking to the people in line with you about manifesting and positivity over negativity. You can do all of that. And you can spread the spiritual vibe that you're wanting to spread, but also actively being a part of what we call politics. It's how our country's based. It's how our country's run. So don't step back and say, you know what, it's just not for me. I just don't want any of that in my aura. I don't want any of that in my vibe. I don't want any of that anywhere around me. all that's going to get you is the negativity of you saying, sorry, I'm checking out. I'm checking out. I'm not going to be an active member of my community. I'm not going to be an active member of the community at large of my country. And like it or not, the politics of the United States affects the entire world. That is why we are a superpower. So if you don't get out and vote, but you want to sit back and you want to complain, you want to gripe and moan because a certain person got elected, you know what? What is that saying? It's saying, I want the right to object. I want the right to complain. I want the right of free speech, but I don't want to exercise my rights when it really counts. Okay, so maybe you vote and the person you want does not win. It still says you're an active member. And you never know what's going to happen in some of those lines. I've met interesting people in some of those lines, and you never know what connection is going to be. And maybe the person beside you in line is having a really, really hard life, especially this year in 2020, right? And you being there may be the light they need. So think of the positives about being an active citizen instead of the negatives and wanting to withdraw from being an active citizen. So yes, you can be as spiritual as any spiritual master out there, but you can also exercise your rights in the political arena as well. Now, does that mean that a spiritual master is going to go into politics and you're going to wait for that person to vote for that person because they agree with every single thing you think? Then you're going to be waiting forever. For one, there's no two human beings on this planet that is going to ever agree on everything. And for two, most spiritual masters are not going to be in politics. Their work is on a vibrational level, not necessarily in your face level. So I want you to think about that. I want you to think about the fact that what type of people usually run for office. The type of people that usually run for office are first and foremost very type A, right? And they've got to have a lot of confidence, a lot of ego, because they're going to get a lot of negative feedback and they're going to be able to have to face that and take that on and be able to deal with it. How many people could take the negativity that is being thrown at the politicians on a daily basis themselves? Very few, right? So you have to stop and think about, okay, I may not agree with someone 100%, but I agree with them more as opposed to the other people that are running in that election. And like I said before, that goes from the school board elections to your local mayor and commissioners, to your governor, to your statewide offices, to the judgeships, to everything. It is very important that you educate yourself and you're an active part of the citizenry. And hi, if you're on here, say hi to me so that we can talk back and forth about this, because I would love to hear your opinion on this. I'm just saying my opinion, whether you agree with it or not, and that's perfectly fine, because just as I said, not everyone agrees. My opinion is the more spiritual you are, the more active in citizenry you're going to be, because you care. You care about your fellow man. You care about humanity. You care about the climate. You care about what the local laws are on animals. Is there a no-kill shelter, or does your local shelter put animals down if they're not adopted in a certain amount of time. All that stuff is done within the political realm. So the more active you are, and that may mean, okay, you know what? I am so tired of the way they're treating animals in my county or my parish. I'm going to go out and I'm going to run for office. Good for you. If that is your path, go for it. But at the same time, you can still be as spiritual as you are. There's nothing separating the two. And people will try to give you spiritual guilt. And there's very few things that really rub me the wrong way than someone else trying to give someone spiritual guilt. So I'm not here to guilt you into this. I'm here to encourage you to be that active citizen. So to shine your light to maybe those that haven't ever seen the light, not truly. Because everyone they're surrounded by is not part of the spiritual community. So like I said, when I go, and I plan on voting early, and if you can, do so, because hopefully we will actually have more people voting, which is an awesome thing. But when I go and I'm standing in line to vote, we may be separated 6 to 10 feet from each other, but that doesn't mean we can't talk with our masks on. And you know what? It's just like that barista if you go to your local coffee shop. Maybe they've had a really rotten day, a rotten week, a rotten month, a rotten year, whatever it is, and they need your light. You never know where Spirit's going to direct you to be the light and be the change agent in someone else's life. So look at the opportunities that voting allows you, that being an active participant in citizenry in this country, or if you're in another country, also in your country. What does being an active participant allow you to do? How does it allow you to shine your light? How does it allow you to spread your message? Because you know what? Spirit's always giving us opportunities. And sometimes they're opportunities wrapped in really ugly packaging. And we don't like the packaging, so we throw away the gift without ever opening it. And I see this a lot when it comes to politics in the spiritual community. Oh, we don't like the wrapping. That's ugly wrapping. Ooh, the energy of that wrapping is really bad. I don't want anything to do with that gift. So I'm just going to throw it away before I even touch it. I'm not even going to touch it. I'm just going to push it away. That could have been you don't know what's in that gift. It could be the greatest gift of your life. There's no saying that if you're looking for Mr. or Mrs. Right out there, that they're not the one standing next to you in that line. There's no saying that if you're looking for a business opportunity, the person that can open those doors for you is not the person standing next to you in line. There's no saying what is in that gift. But you have to be willing to look past the ugly wrapping and open it. So I want you to really think about that. When was the last time you're like, well, my vote's not going to count. I'm not going to bother. I'm not going to bother showing up. It really doesn't matter. It's just a local election, or it's just a primary, or it's just the general election. But I'm not really going to worry about it. I'm not going to do anything about it because I don't want to do that. I don't want to go there. Think about it. How spiritual is it for you to turn away a gift from Spirit? How spiritual is it to say, okay, I came into this world. I chose the United States to grow up in and to live in, and I'm a citizen, so I can vote. But I'm just going to throw away that part of being a citizen. I want all the benefits that government gives me, whether it's having firemen come if my house catches on fire, having people to help me if I need an ambulance, or having public schools, or our roads and our bridges. We want all those things, but then we're saying, all that's too icky. I'm not going to get involved. I'm not going to take whatever time it takes to just go vote. And you know what? This year, you may be in the states where you don't even actually have to physically go vote. And if that's the case, ask for an absentee ballot. You can hear my dog Gypsy scratching and her collar going in the background if you're wondering what that noise is. But ask for an absentee ballot. And then make sure you mail it in. Or if you're in a state that has a drop box, next time you're out, drive by the drop box and put it in. But don't separate the fact that, oh, I'm spiritual, so I can't somehow dirty myself with politics. Like I said, it's completely different to educate yourself, or you can go down the whole of the 24-hour news cycle and whatever crazy things are being passed around on social media and all of that stuff. And most of that stuff is meant to trigger you, and they do it on purpose. Because if they trigger you, they're either going to have one or two outcomes. They're either going to A, get the people they want to vote, or B, hopefully get the people they don't want to vote to just stay home. So if you don't like the game playing, don't let them play the game with you. Hi, Athena, exactly, amen, right? Don't let them play the game with you. You can step out of that energy and still educate yourself, be it for whatever thing is on the ballot. And sometimes they're like state questions and stuff like that too. You need to educate yourself on those too, because a lot of times people will be like, oh, we had no idea what we were voting for. We just voted for this way because someone else said to do it. But we don't like that result. That's why you educate yourself. You don't have to play the game of, okay, I'm going to be triggered every 5 seconds. And then be an active participant in the citizenry that you chose to come in. You could have chosen to come into a country that the citizens don't have a right to vote. It's a monarchy. Or it's a dictatorship. But if you chose to come into a republic or a democracy, then it's up to you to be an active participant. Women didn't get the right to vote by saying, yeah, I don't want to get my hands dirty with that. Right? We didn't have a civil rights movement because people didn't want to stand up. And very spiritual people stood up. Right? Exactly, Athena. They will make some of those questions on those ballots where a yes means no and a no means yes. And if you haven't researched it and you wait until you get in line and you're at that ballot and you're trying to read those questions, your mind almost is like, hold on, what did I just read, right? And you have to stop and you have to try to figure it out and you have to think. And that's why if you educate yourself before and you know, okay, state question 1, 2, 3, I'm voting this way on because this is what it really means. not the way that they may have it worded on the ballot. Because they do that to where yes means no and no means yes and all that other craziness, right? Because they're really wanting, whoever wrote the question is wanting a certain outcome. Once again, that's letting them play you. You don't have to get into that. You can just research, what is this? What does voting yes mean in reality? And what does voting no mean in reality? And therefore, when you go and you get up to vote, you're not sitting there going, okay, I have no clue who any of these people are, so I'm just going to check boxes because, okay. And I've known people that say, well, I just check whatever my intuition at the moment tells me to check because I want out of there. Well, so are you taking the time to really tune into your intuition, or are you just going down the line and checking because you want to get out of there? You have to stop and think. So sometimes it can just be, you know what? They may talk a good game on their commercials, and they may claim that they're for certain things, but if you start researching it and you start researching them, you realize they're actually, their stance is something completely different. They're just being expedient in what they're saying so that you don't stop and think about it. Because sadly, most people do not take the time to educate themselves. Most people go in completely blind and vote whatever someone else told them to vote, what a group of people told them to vote, and they're not voting for themselves. They're voting instead because someone else. So they may end up voting for someone that stands against everything they stand for. But yeah, everyone's just voting for this person, so I'm voting for this person. You know, the great thing about it is when you go vote, your vote is your vote. It's private. You don't have to tell anyone how you voted. So if everyone around you may be for someone and you educate yourself and you're like, yeah, no. You have the right to vote and not tell anyone how you voted, if that's how you choose. And if people are been going, hey, yeah, you voted for him too, or her too, or that also, you can just say, I voted. I exercised my rights. Yes, I did. Thank you. You never have to tell them how you voted if you so choose. So think about it. Don't put your head in the sand when it comes to politics. You can be as spiritual as you want to be, as you need to be, as you're called to be, and still exercise your rights. And yes, it's not just politics, that sometimes those gifts from spirit come to you in some, maybe some really icky, negative wrapping. But a lot of times that spirit saying, you really want this? Are you really want this? Because if you do, you open up the wrapping and you're going to get even better than you thought, maybe. But you have to be willing to open the gift. I hope this made you think. If you're not registered to vote, today is National Voter Registration Day. So go register to vote. I know it's getting down to the last couple of weeks in a lot of places that you can register still. So make sure you get registered to vote and then vote. Whether it's absentee ballot, whether it's early voting, or it's on election day, go vote. It is worth your time. It is worth your energy. And you know what? Say, Spirit, hey, I'm going to vote. I'm open to anything you have to offer me during this experience. And maybe it is that person you're needing to meet, that gives you that opportunity, right? You never know. You never know. So yes, be as spiritual as you are. Keep working on your spirituality, but you're also a human. And as long as you're a human and you're part of a democracy or a republic, exercise your citizens' rights. Don't let someone else vote for you. Vote for yourself. I hope this hit home. I hope you've registered to vote. I've registered, my son's registered, my husband's registered. I really hope that you go out there and you are an active part of the citizenry. Because you know what? Do you want change? It starts with the smallest steps. And sometimes the smallest steps is saying, I'm voting. Okay? And until tomorrow, I hope that this helps. And I hope you spread this message so that other people can hear, hey, it's important. You are a human in this country. Make sure you're registered to vote. And take care. Be safe. We're all still wearing our gorgeous masks, right? And self-distancing. And I know you are taking care of you and your loved ones. And I wish you all nothing but the best. Until tomorrow, expect miracles. Bye-bye.